Google Stadia. Now, this is, I think, a heated discussion, right? So the question behind Google Stadia, everybody, is can this replace a Xbox or a PlayStation? What does this do? Where does this fit in? How does this fit in? That is the question. So with that being said, we're going to move this. Is it the Xbox killer? That's going to be the question we start out with. It says it'll run faster. It says it'll run more powerful games on a higher frame rate more consistently, just because it's Google servers running everything. What do you guys think? Alex and Dad, you guys might have some opinions about these. So Google Stadia, what do you think? Xbox killer or not?
I definitely do not think it's the Xbox killer or the PlayStation killer.
Okay.
I think it's going to be a good service, and I think it's going to open itself up to a huge market that Xbox and PlayStation have a tough time getting into now, specifically outside of the US and European countries, right? Where you're talking about folks who don't have quite as much money to go and get a huge Xbox, with a price tag of, hundreds of dollars, or have the infrastructure to support the Xbox, right? A lot of these countries are getting good, solid internet access now, but they don't have tremendous hardware to run these things, and they can't buy those consoles. So in those countries, I think what we're going to do is we're going to see Stadia open up those markets, and we're going to see new players coming out of those markets, which is great. I think it's perfect for that, because you don't need a big piece of hardware. I think serious gamers in serious gaming countries are probably not going to give up their consoles for this. I think they're going to like to have physical media. I think they're going to like to have physical device, and they're going to want to be able to play it offline from time to time. So I don't think it's the killer, but I definitely think it's going to be a successful product from Google.
Yeah, absolutely. I see so much potential for this device, and not in the Xbox killer area, right? Like, that's not where I think it's going to be. I really think this is going to fit in with everybody else, right? The casual gamers, just everybody that's not a hardcore gamer, right? You get into hardcore gamers, they're going to have physical devices, they're going to have computers, they're going to have Xboxes, but everybody else in the world can access Google Stadia for a very, very small price and play those hardcore games when they want, but also not play them when they don't want, right? So that's my thinking. And Deckbones actually makes a comment. I could potentially see this happening because the market for successful game consoles isn't massive. So yeah, I mean, I think it will end up hurting Xbox and PlayStation, but not right away. Alex, do you have any thoughts on this, or is this one going to pass you by?
I don't think it's going to have too much of an impact on the Xbox and PlayStation per se. I think what it's more going to compete with, once they figure out what it can even do, is compete with mobile games, because people who have, very good computers, like the $1,200 computers, people who have consoles, they like to have their physical device that they can download these games onto and have basically a copy of the game on their hard drive, or even the physical copy. They like to have those things in possession. And I even think that some of the poorer countries may not use this, just because it is a service you have to continually pay for, as well as buy the game itself. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that it'll have that big of an impact on consoles. I think that a lot of these phone makers are going to see this service and try to make some sort of an app that will natively work with this to help it work better, because there's going to be a lot of lag involved in it. And they say that they can get the lag down a lot, but I don't think they will, because I can't even watch a video in 1080 without it buffering sometimes. So I seriously doubt that I'm going to be able to play a 4K video game with no lag at all.
Oh yeah,
that's my take on it.
Well, and I'm so in this article that I'm looking at, it says Stadia could run faster and be more responsive than they do on local hardware like Xbox One and PlayStation 4. That's from a Google executive, which I would love to see that. I would love, if that's true, count me in. But is it true? That's I think with a lot of these things, time will tell, right? A lot of these things that we're talking about, time will tell whether or not this is good tech or not. And Pokestone, so Deckbones isn't commenting. Pokestone commented, says, I think that Google Stadia is going to be the death of gaming in total. Okay, that's a little exaggerated, I think, but I think you're on the right track with it being not quite as, changing the game for sure. And that is where I think everything will go. It's going to change the way we play games. They've already changed it with things like Steam and Origin, EA's Origin, all that good stuff. And now Microsoft has their PC version of the online downloading, streaming games kind of thing. It's not quite streaming, but so I really think that's going to change the way we do games. And if they can successfully do this, give it 5-10 years, and the whole gaming industry is going to be vastly different. Any final thoughts?
I don't disagree. I think it is going to change the gaming atmosphere out there. I think we're going to see a lot more cross-platform. Where people are so one person playing on an iPad, another person playing on an Android phone, another person playing on a PC or on their TV, and they're all playing together. We don't see that as prevalent today across platforms like PlayStation and Xbox. There's a few out there, but it's definitely not as prevalent as it will be in the future. The other thing I think it's going to do is it's going to change the Google App Store, I think, forever, because I believe that Google's going to start pushing app game developers out of the Play Store and into the Stadia platform so that everything gaming is in that platform. And I think if they're able to nail the speed issues and the performance issues, I think that's going to change that part of the gaming industry, because the games that you get on your Android phones now or on your iPhones now, they're good and they're getting better, and they have been getting better for years. Mm-hmm. This is going to take it to the next level, and I think that's what they're hoping to do. But we'll see.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and Pokestone commented back with this. He says, it will be, as people will try it out and claiming that it's better, people will actually believe it. So like what he's trying to say there is that as people play it and they see that it's actually a good service, that will build off. If it's not, if people are like, this doesn't really work as good as I thought it was, then it's going to die out. And I think that's 100% very, very accurate how it's going to kind of roll with that. Go ahead.
Google really needs to keep an eye on it, though, because right now they've got all these $40 to $70 titles out there, mm-hmm. right, that you have to buy, and then you go to the Google Play Store and you can get titles for $1.99 or $5, right? So they need to make sure that it's going to be something that will span all of it, consolidate the whole gaming platform down, mm-hmm. And like I said, if that performance is good, it's going to open up a whole new market to folks, and I think that's going to be a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, and moving on to our last and final topic. Now, this one, Alex is going to take over for us, and we're going to ask Alex questions. So, Alex, can you tell us, this is Frostpunk.